Great. Thank you.
I guess go ahead. I guess now everybody can hear you.
Right. We'll go to like another question that you have, or we go one by one?
Yeah, go one by one.
Okay.
Can we just talk before we start, because I know your time is limited, so can we just have a plan for briefly what we're going to do for finishing the call?
That will be great.
I think,
Have that plan. What's next step?
depending on what's next, and I was ready to call that shot a little earlier. I mean, are we looking for enough content for another public meeting, or minimally a conference call? Getting together is really the best way to do it. This is
Well, I think we have discussed at least from a review perspective, the most important issues, right? But there's still some number of clarification issues that I think can be handled through public telecom.
You think so? Okay.
I think that
If it is a clarification, yes, we can handle clarification.
We'll read first. What about
Right? Yes, you know,
It actually might be better, you know, that we've had this discussion, you only saw the slides this morning maybe, and so, and we've had this good discussion, so perhaps,
we would rather have a face-to-face.
I think it might be.
well, of course, this my I guess assumption is this type of meeting will be going on for a while.
Right.
From interaction, what I saw today, this is only the preliminary meeting. It's going to be a lot more meetings on this issue because I heard enough things, we will do this, we will do that. So definitely we'll have more meetings, but you know what?
Right. Yeah,
We'll have to notice and all that, it will take a little time if you want to have this.
Well, what I would suggest is whatever we can finish, and then we read it, and then have scheduled a public telephone call
Yes.
for
Yes.
any clarification.
Yeah, we can do that.
We would
And
like
after
to
that,
hear.
we decide whether we need any public.
Okay, and so what I was just proposing is that we not rush through these, you know, we've
Well, we
just
go
recognized
through as many as
as
possible.
efficiently as we
Yeah.
can, but I'd rather not rush through because you guys, this discussion has really helped, I think, us understand what you need. So keep going.
And I also like to hear a little bit about tax back.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Where we
So
go
leave
from here.
maybe 15 minutes at the end.
Which would be just over about 40 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Okay.
we
Okay.
need-
So,
I have to leave.
150?
so 1:45, we have another half an hour plus, and we'll start talking about the next step. And maybe it's not something we can assess instantly, but the NRC team needs to take it back and think about it as well as you guys, and we'll discuss whether we need a whole day. Then we have time to plan. This is, maybe a day wasn't enough, who knows?
Yeah, I think, yeah, the next meeting, definitely should plan for the whole day.
Definitely. But we'll get there in half an hour, we'll talk to you.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
This is Erica Graham calling from Henrico. And I know we've passed a couple of times for public comments or questions. And so, I mean, can I pipe in at this point? Because I do have some questions.
Yeah, we had one opportunity at 12:15 according to the schedule.
Yeah, but for some reason my mic was not working. And then I think it was supposed to be at 12:45, and then it kind of just, y'all ended up moving rooms.
You know, the 12:15 was a mistake, but we stuck with it. It should have been 12:45.
But then y'all didn't offer at 12:45.
No, we didn't. You have a question right now?
Yeah, actually I do.
Please.
Well, first of all, I'd like to know, basing all these assumptions and probabilities, is there a sensor now set in the location for the proposed third reactor?
It's a question for the staff, unless Dominion wants to answer.
No. Well, I guess none of us here,
That's not the scope of it.
no, I understand, but let's just, because I know Erica for a long time, and I...
Well, the reason I'm asking is because obviously, maybe some of you folks felt our earthquake last night, our 3.2. There was a couple counties over from Louisa. I'm in Western Henrico, and we felt it hard here. We actually heard the...
Mute off.
No.
So I'm wondering, because it sounds like the two other reactors are built on top of a certain amount of footage of soil, and the third one's being planned on a rock. And if we're not already taking some samples of movement, I mean, I'm wondering, did even the 2 units that are there, did they sense the earthquake last night as well?
Yes, Erika, this is Chandu Patel.
Yes.
Okay, hi. Let me just answer quickly. For unit 1 and 2, yes, they should have sensors in place and everything should be recorded, Particularly after 2011 earthquake, it must be pretty sensitive issue. Okay, for unit 1 and 2. As far as unit 3 is concerned, no, we don't have any sensor that to my knowledge. Okay, because it's too early for that.
Well, but if we're already getting the area ready, it seems like why wouldn't they have a sensor there if the material is different from the other 2 reactors? I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense not to have the data. Because if we're going to be basing all these things on the data that was prior to the 2011 earthquake, and even during the 2011 earthquake, because there were sensors that were missing and ones that were not in proper locations. So I'm just not sure how we're coming about with all these numbers. So if we're not even looking now, and by the way, the earthquake back in 2011 was from an previously unknown fault, and last night they're saying it was from another area, so it's not even an aftershock. So, we've got multiple locations now, and the USGS is continuing to study, and they said their biggest concern is they don't know how far it travels, because obviously last night's earthquake, they felt it up in Maryland and all the way down to North Carolina, and all over Virginia. So I'm just not sure if we're going forward with a COLA and looking at the data. I mean, what kind of reliable data are we going to actually have?
Take that question.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay, Erika, how about keep doing this, okay? I will call you back and go through this personally with you, with the right people. Is that acceptable to you?
Well, I'm sure that's acceptable, Mr. Patel. I'm just curious on why we don't have a sensor if it's even talking about a different location as it goes for the material. I mean, why isn't that being looked at?
Yes, I understand your question. And okay, of course, this is not going to be like on one event or one particular time. This we have to study for long term. So
Right.
Even like yesterday's earthquake might be there and everything, it will be considered as a big whole picture, like last, I guess, 50 or 100 years or whatever it is, okay? But topic today is a little bit different, but I will be definitely giving you answer for this with the right person, right type of people with me.
Okay, well, the other question would be, what waiver is Dominion asking for? Because there was mention that a waiver or an exemption has been requested, and I was wondering what that was.
Okay, that's for the exemption.
Oh,
Yeah. Are you familiar with the application, Erika? There are about 10 parts for this application, and it's in part 7. If you look at part 7 has the exemption, they discuss about it. And basically, it is because of the earthquake, like they realize that this might be a little bit more than whatever they have DCB analyzed. So they will have to do site-specific, site-specific structural response spectra type of deal, okay?
Right, because that DCD you're saying was developed back in prior to 2010, is that correct?
Yeah, right, but this at certain frequency, north HANA it might not be enveloping. So we will have to look at north HANA specific response, we will have to develop this spectra for north HANA. Okay, and that was the exemption about.
Okay.
Okay, so they cannot really mix the DCD thing, so we will have to look at more site-specific information, and we will have to hold north HANA for that response spectra, okay? And
Okay, so, well, being this is specific for Unit 3,
yes.
I'm still wondering why we have Unit 1 and 2 on if Unit 3 wouldn't even meet what we've got right now.
Oh, no, but see, we are talking about now different design, okay? It's a whole, 2 different designs you are talking about. Now, this is like GE designed ESBWR, okay? The other one is Westinghouse plant, which is whole different set of the circumstances. Unit 1 and 2 were designed in like late 60s, early 70s, okay? So, we are talking about two different things. All right, so right now we are only talking about Unit 3 design.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm a little disturbed that we don't even have a sensor kind of seeing what's going on at the site that they want to actually build on.
Yeah, okay, and I'll get back to you with some person, okay, who is knowledgeable about sensors, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did-
Go ahead.
You have contact?
Yes, yes.
Great.
Hello?
Any other questions from the public?
Yes, I did. It's David Martin.
Okay,
On the same question Eric did, why is not a sensor placed in there long before why is the new sensor not being placed there at all now?
Mr. Martin, I have your contact information. This is Perry Buckberg, and we can include you when we get back to you and Ms. Patrick on that subject matter. This is not the staff in here today that discusses current operating reactors and that type of situation. We're just trying to get the right criteria for licensing the new reactor, the new design, based on what's in place today. That could be amended at some point based on last night's earthquake or whatever happens in the near future. We're moving ahead, and we just need to contact you on that separate subject separately.
This should have been done long before even considering a new permit for Dominion.
Good point. We'll take that into question when we get back to you.
Like 2 years before Dominion even thought about it. It should be automatically no.
Anything else? Any other public comments? We have a potential phone conference with 2 members of the public as a result of what we just discussed. Any other questions? Thank you. We'll go back to discussing the REI drafts.
Okay, we went to brief, which was about the CB, and
Mute on.
Going up.
and basically for these, you can get basics. You don't have to do like a full-blown analysis and changes. You have to address it to show that basically those 3 meters below in the reactor do not affect what we have there. This is about the models. This is a multiple question. The first was asking about maximum aspect ratio used for the models, and then provide the Poisson ratio. This is 51. Slide 51. Then clarification was asked about is the model passing frequency.
I'm sorry, I think you skipped
Oh,
B.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Oh, this is about what kind of time history for you?
Actually, that's
Yeah, basically for the time history, this is slide 50, I'm sorry. We are using partial count or truncated count time history, which is considering only the rock and not the embedment.
okay.
So,
You will add that clarification.
yeah, you will have clarification for this.
So all the analyses that are currently documented in 372 correspond to the partial column FERS and partial column input.
Yeah, otherwise we won't be. But now the full column are used for the sensitivity studies. Now, B again, 51. Basically, those are questions regarding the model. I already talked about the aspect ratio and the Poisson ratio. We also, there is a clarification how we were coupling the passing frequency. is that calculated based on vertical direction only or horizontal and vertical? Now, in D, we are asked to provide basis for using model of parameter service complex. So it's like lower bound and base estimate. The capacity frequency is lower than 50 Hz. In E, we are asked to provide graphical comparison between the survey profiles being documented in section 371 and the actual use for the SSI analysis. And now in A, we are asked to clarify if sensitivity analysis was performed to demonstrate that the depth of the model is adequate, not to affect the results we are getting. Next, slide 52, regarding A and B, the validation report of SASI documents the aspect ratio, validation of the aspect ratio, the maximum considered was 1/4, and basically our models are all below that 1/4 ratio, and we have shown that the results are correct. Poisson ratio, as Ridat mentioned before, is 0.48, and the validation report also validated that up to that value, the results are correct. So basically that report will be available for this, and you can see about this. Well, three, we clarify that for the passive frequency, we use the actual dimensions of the finite element, meaning the horizontal or vertical, depending which one is the last. Now, for the cutoff frequency that we use for the SSI analysis of parallel service complex, they are below 50 Hz. We use for the analysis itself up to 50% higher than the passive frequencies. So basically, the base estimate profile was analyzed by 50 Hz, and for the lower bound, we analyzed up to 29 Hz. We looked at the results and the transfer function and less, and basically using 50% higher frequency of analysis than what the SASI manual recommends, which is 20% of the passive frequency of the wavelength. Which, since the results are correct, and we will demonstrate that what we get from now from example upper bound basis and lower bound profiles is basically enveloping all the variations possible for all frequencies.
I have a follow-up question. What I recall, the passing frequency of that FWSC model for one of the profiles that you were talking, 19.
Right. The analog is up to 29.
And perhaps those sensitivity results that you're just alluding to are not going to be, are they going to still be valid in light of high frequency input and then structure is going to see?
But basically, I think that it's up to that point. Yes, if you change the licensing basis model, and the analysis definitely will happen. Right, no, but we were discussing.
You're talking about the one. You weren't talking about the one.
Basically, the concern is that we think that the high frequency input for that specific structure may be underestimated in the analysis that we currently. And if that's being analyzed for a model that has a passive frequency that only has 19 Hz, you need not be able to observe anything about that frequency just because there's no info about that frequency. In light of this discussion that we've had a couple of hours ago, have to modify the input, and the structure will have to see that frequency input. That means that the model will have to have a higher frequency. It see that input, otherwise it just won't see it.
I mean, basically, before we go with the analysis and everything, we'll get the time, the input, look at the energy content in frequencies, and if we need to modify the lower bound model, we will do so. If we run to the case that really so refined that we can do with it, we may use MSN. Yeah, MSN.
Yeah, but for the passing frequency has to do with the way that the excavated volume is measured. Excavated volume has to do with, yeah, but only at the frequency. So if the passing, if the excavated volume is too coarse, then no matter what you do, the height structure is not going to
Yes, and thank you for pointing out, because right now we are having different motion, and we won't have the same what we have before. Next slide, 53. The main properties, the profiles we use are the same as the ones used in 371 in terms of properties, only the layering was adjusted. Tonight the finite element mesh, so basically if we have to divide one layer, we will do that, but we didn't really do change the properties, stay the same. We have technical reports that provide those details and for audit, and basically those we don't use figures because figures are not that clear. We use tables to show what are the layering in 3.71 and what we have change in terms of layering in the actual report. So basically the data is there. I think that is the clarification. For the F, this is about the elevation of the depth of the model. We will be performing a study on the reactor field building model, where we are going to establish the boundary and the lower elevation than what we have right now, it's like 20 or 50% more. And we will compare the results to show that there is no effect. We are choosing reactor building field building because, yeah, I mean, it's the biggest and then it will be the most effective by this university.
The elevation of the absolute interface for the reactor building model is the same as the control building model, or is it?
I think so, but I have to look at the actual data.
The only one we discussed, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he was the one. So we can go to page 58. This is also to provide transfer function results for responses at key locations for the three showcases. And basically, if you go to 89 slide, all these results are provided in a technical report. Actually, I provided a sample figure. In the plot, we have dots that show the calculated and interpolated values. You have 9 curves for each location, basically for each response in each direction. All these plots, they show the results. We didn't see anything wrong with it. The interpolation was correct, and the results are correct. Now, besides those plots, we also provided in the same report plots comparing transfer functions for results from different soil cases. So it will make easy the comparison and show, hey, what are the effects of the soil variation of the. So basically, as a response to this question, all the data that you are requested to see and this additional data is already documented.
Take a look during the audit.
I have a question though, because every time we go to an audit, we write up an audit report, then we have to write the SER that, we looked at the transfer functions. It's okay. nothing's on the docket.
How are you going to
I'm
happen?
going to reference that, because I've been so many times.
Yes. If you,
Yeah, but he's saying that it's
RAI
is it going to be documented in the RAI response, or is it only going to be available for audit, not documented?
Document number, you know, you need to put something there. So
And it's just like a,
okay, general rule of thumb, okay, anything you need to support your SCR, if it is not docketed, if you have through the audit, one thing, but whatever you need, we will have them documented.
we have to
Yes,
reference
if
that.
you have to reference it, we will manage somehow to get that information on docket. In one way or the other, with the audit or whatever. I mean, we will have to make sure, if you are going to use in SCR, let me give you the specific things. And we'll discuss later, okay, how we are going to do it.
Sure.
Okay, but I can give you blanket assurance that whatever we rely on, the information in the SCR, yes, we should have a good fundamental place to say, okay, this is how we are saying it, or this is where it is. And we'll get it.
Now 61, this is section G, and it's about triple side effects, structure, cell interaction, structure, cell structure interaction. And basically we have to provide site-specific evaluation of this effect. We are working on that as we speak. Basically, we will base our evaluation of two types of analysis. The analysis, we will perform analysis of combined model, which will include control building and reactor building, field building. And another model will be control building and fire water service company. Results for structural loads in structural response paper, lateral operation, and we will demonstrate that these effects are, to demonstrate that these effects are, both standard design and, the Unit 3 design base.
So you are doing this analysis, sustainability analysis.
Right, they're actually running. There are large grounds that you can imagine, they're big models.
Yeah, and those would include, for the SSSI, you would have to include fill materials to the structure.
Yes, and basically later I will discuss.
Yeah, so these are
For some of them, we don't have.
MSM type.
Right, because the models become busy. We are kind of have a rule of thumb to go like 10,000 square feet. That's really some can handle.
So then are we doing, are we following the same strategy that from
Actually, we go back more. For me, they never did direct analysis of building, reactor building. They did something.
They did the reactor building on the pre-field node where the control building would be, and then use that as input to a separate analysis of the control building.
And now, having in mind the variation of properties throughout the site, and also that, unlike Fermi, where the design, standard design error was with a large margin, now we felt here that we have to be more precise. Right. And now, yes, and now for the analysis, what we plan to do is, for the control building, reactor building analysis, to address this issue of variation, because we have two different profiles. The idea that this large reactor building, I think that the most will be on the control building. So that's why we will focus our attention to the soil properties and the scientific and motion in the control building location. So the analysis will be done with profiles that reflect the conditions in the control building. Another thing we want to do is we want to address the variation of soil properties or the stiffnesses of the subgrade. So we will run two cases. The first one will be using the full column properties. It means you have up to the plane grade, you will have soil, and you will use upper bound properties for that, which is going to the most stiff case. And then we will consider